Aloha, malolele, and welcome to the Let's Talanoa podcast. And today we have a special guest. We have here Malissa Fifita Seniloli. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm your host, Kepu, and today we're going to talanoa about Melissa's journey through with education. And I I would talk to Melissa occasionally throughout campus. We went to high school together, and then when we went to college together at BYU Hawaii. And I've just been very interested in watching you in your journey and just seeing you on social media post about your life journey and your journey for education. And as I read a lot of your posts, I told myself, man, this is a really good, inspiring story, especially not just for young women, but I think specifically for young women when they read and hear about your story. I think I believe and I know that it's a great inspirational story. So without further ado, I'm going to give it over to Melissa to just introduce yourself, your villages, the islands you rep, and all of that. And I'll give it over to you and introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kepo, for the opportunity. My name is Melissa, as Kepo has mentioned. Melissa Fifita Seniloli. I'm from Tonga, but I'm married to a Fijian. So I'm from Fiji and Tonga. um, I am from Whangaloto. I was raised in Whangaloto, but my grandparents, my ancestors come from Tuakoloa, Vava'o, and Hapai Hawhewa.
Okay.
Um, and as talking about the journey of education, I wasn't always the best student during middle school and high school. um, I think to start it off, I think the goal of education was rooted by my mother. I was raised by a single parent when I was growing up. Um, my mom raised 4 kids, which is me plus 3 other siblings. I have one brother and 2 sisters. All of us grew up in the gospel, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And as we all know, we grow up, and every Monday and every other evening, we are brought together and we are set and we are told what our family goals are. And one of those goals were to further education. But I feel like growing up, I kind of, probably because my mom smashed those goals into us, like, you better have an education, you have to have an education. I chose to be the black sheep of the family growing up, and since I was the oldest, I felt like I can get away with a lot of things. So I kind of swayed a little, skipped classes a lot in high school. I knew Gepo in high school, so he was a motivation. He was one of those students, A students. So I was those students that would skip class, especially math class. I was not in favor with math and chemistry. I choose chemistry because I knew the teacher and I could skip class and go stay in chemistry. But it's not until I was in Form 5. I don't know what grade it's at in the American system, but when I was in Form 5,
Junior, I think it's
yeah, I think that's junior. When I was in Form 5, I failed my external exam. And that's when I saw the pain that I've caused my mom. When I was Form 5, I skipped all my classes. Every Friday there would be a rugby tournament, like for colleges, for the high schools, and I would skip class just to go and watch the games. I'm a big fan of rugby. I like to watch rugby, and I would skip classes just so I could go watch the games on Fridays. And during the weekdays, I would still skip classes. I don't know why. Probably because of my friends, or probably because I just want to skip class. And during the report cuts, I would ask my friends' parents to vouch for me and pick up my reports because I don't want my mom to be there. I failed my external exams. My mom came one time to school out of the blue while she found out from one of the parents that, oh, Liahona High School is having a report card today. Your daughter didn't tell you? So my mom just showed up out of the blue. She knows my schedule, obviously, because we had the periods in the classes. And when she came, then she took me around all my teachers. Oh my gosh. I could tell by my mom's face that she just wanted to give me hiding right in front of my teacher. And oh my God, I have never seen my mom so embarrassed to pick up my report because all my classes were D's and F's, and I didn't even pass all my classes. And I was on the edge of, I was on probation and I was on the edge of getting expelled. So when we went home, obviously I would get a hiding because the tongue way, they tell you they love you so much and they give you a hiding. And then that's when I decided that I don't want to put my mom through that misery of failing my external exam, making her look like somebody who's not worth being called my mom in front of a lot of parents who were smiling because their children were called up to the honor roll list or the principal list. And then that's when I started changing. It's
Okay.
I because I wanted to see my mom happy. I knew that running away and watching the rugby games on Fridays and skipping class was not putting a smile on my mom's face, obviously. And I just wanted to be somebody who is going to put a smile on my mom's face. That's what changed me on my education journey. And
Oh,
it had taken me this far. So I hope to go far, far. So to keep putting a smile on my mom's face.
wow, thank you so much. And I know that and that's quite your experience is pretty common with a lot of kids because they would run away from class. Thank you so much for your honesty and sharing all of that. Um, and so you finished high school. You went on a mission, church
Yes.
mission, yeah?
So I served a voluntary missionary service for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And one of the reasons why is because it's a family goal. And I was the oldest again, wanted to be
Right.
the good example for my siblings since I didn't
Mhm.
do a good job in high school. I also wanted to put a smile on my mom's face, and I also wanted to do it. I also wanted to serve a mission, just because I wanted to experience what other missionaries have shared after they served their mission. And I got called to the Auckland, New Zealand mission. And I served in 2015 and I finished 2016.
Did your service in a foreign land where English was spoken, did that like open your mind more to the possibilities that are outside of Tonga and all that stuff?
Yes, because most of my companions were Americans, American sisters. They were called to
Mm.
serve in New Zealand and they would talk about school. Most of my companions that I served with, they have done college or they have graduated from, they have done their associates, and they would talk about all the jobs that they have. So I was like, wow,
Right.
and the pays, like how much they get paid by the hour. And I was like, wow, I worked in Tonga before I served my mission. And I gotta say it was underpaid, but I did a lot. But at the same time, I learned a lot
Mm.
um, from working before my mission, even though I got underpaid, but I put my heart into the work. So I felt like I learned a lot. It wasn't for the pay, but I learned a lot. I met a lot of people. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. So if I get a better education, even though it's not guaranteed that I get a good job with the education that I have, but I know for sure that I would learn a lot and also meet a lot of good people on the way. So
Right. And
that's,
then, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
you go. You go.
No, yeah. And then you came into BYU. What year did you start?
I came spring 2017.
Okay, so you came a year after me. And
Yeah.
then, um, and like I said earlier when we were starting out the podcast, then I saw on your social media the stuff that you did with your education, which is great because I started out as an English major and then I switched over to a graphic design major.
Yeah.
And then I found out that I wasn't happy. I mean, I could do the thing was I was good at it, the graphic design, but it wasn't fulfilling. Like I would do it and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, you know,
You're not
but
feeling it.
it wasn't um intellectually challenging for me. And then
Mhm.
eventually, like I would see you go on, I think it was field study trips, right?
Yeah.
I was like,
To Washington, D.C. and also New York.
yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about those trips. But like when I saw you do that, and I was like, wow, what is Melissa's major? Like, what is she doing? And then like eventually I learned more about political science and I got into it and I graduated into it and I graduated in it. Um, but yeah, it was really, I think to your benefit. I don't know if other people has approached you about it, but for me, watching you on social media post about your trips, right? It was a source of inspiration to me. I was like, man, that's awesome. Like she's out there going to all these like big places in American government and history that I was like, wow, that's so cool that she's out doing that. But that was before I knew about political science and like the significance of the places that you went. Um, but tell us more about like your journey here in BYU Hawaii. Like, how did you get into political science, and how was that?
Um, I've always wanted to do something with the law. Um,
Hmm,
when
okay.
I finished my mission, you know how you talk with your mission president, the person who looks after you during your 2 years or 1.5 year, and he asked me what I wanted to do after my mission. I said, "Oh, I want to go to school." And he asked me, "Oh, what do you want to study?" And I just said, "Oh, I want to study law." And well, he said, "Well, go for it." He encouraged me to pursue that dream. So when I came back home, um, and funny thing is, I got denied 3 times from BYU Hawaii.
Oh, really?
Yes, so I got
Wow.
denied. The first time I applied was when straight out from high school. I
Mm,
applied, got denied, and then I applied again and got denied. And then yeah, it was 3 times I applied before I went on my mission. And then when I came back, I talked to Verna Duguafo, and she told me about the online classes that BYU offers, BYU Hawaii offers. So I took the online class and then I applied again, and I got accepted. I was almost giving up, but I don't know, probably because I just wanted to pursue an education. And then I came to BYU with the mindset, oh, I want to study law. But in BYU Hawaii, there is no law. There's law classes, but it's just legal studies. It's just a
mm,
certificate. You get a bachelor's or a master's or a bachelor from it. So I say, oh, so I talked to a lot of students. I did some research by just talking to a lot of people about their majors. And one of the person that I talked to was Bila Tuguafu.
mm.
Biryami Tuguafu graduated
Right,
from
right.
BYU, and he was majoring in political science. We were just casually talking about it, and then he said, well, just take these classes, and he suggested some professors to take just to, like, get the feel of the major. So I took the classes and I did so terrible. I did so terrible in 2 of the classes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think this major is not for me. I don't like it. So I went back to Bila. I went back to Bila and I told him, I don't want to take this class. It's so hard. The readings are so hard. The vocabularies are so hard. I don't even understand half of it. And he said, well, just keep taking it. Like, take another class the next semester. So that's my first semester. So I said, okay, I'll take another class. So then the following semester, I think it's winter semester, I took a class from Jennifer Katayama.
Okay.
I took the Introduction to Political Science from Jennifer Katayama, and I loved it. I loved it. Even though it was hard, but I felt like I can do it, because just listening to Jennifer talk about the class in the beginning, it felt very promising. How she introduced the class to us. I felt like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can do this. I understand what she's
Mm.
talking about, and I have no idea about the American government. I don't know how it's formed. Nothing at all. I don't even know there was a constitution that is and all that. But I felt like I felt welcome in that class. And after that semester, I told myself, this is my major. This is what I'm going to stay with. And I pursued political science until I graduated. I don't say I'm the best at it, but I feel like I did good enough to understand my major and graduated with political science in the long run.
Right. Because I know that you ended up working in the political science office. I mean,
Yeah, so I served under Professor Akanoa as a teaching assistant, and
it's
then
a TA.
is a TA. Yeah,
Right.
so
And that's really so interesting to see the comparison. You said that you started and you failed 2 classes and you
yeah,
hated
it's
it.
horrible. I I'm not saying I hated it. I just did so terrible, and I felt like I didn't fit in. I didn't fit
Okay,
in.
okay. And then for you, it took the right teacher,
Mhm.
and that was Jennifer Kajiyama Tinkham.
Yes, Tinker. She's married now. It took the right teacher to mold me and help me get the feel of the major, and
Mm,
also felt welcome. Like I don't know. I don't know about other students if they consider themselves when they're choosing their major, not just because of the job wise, and also
mm,
um, I don't know. I took classes because I feel like I want to be in the class. You
right.
go to your room and you want to come out of your room. Like not go in. You want to stay in your room. I want
Right.
to go into my room and get out of my room because I feel like, okay, today I'm going to learn something new. Or that's one thing that motivated me not to skip my classes in universities because I wanted to be in the class in the first place because I chose it and stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's amazing because for me, the teacher that really got me into political science was Troy Smith, and just
yeah,
his way of thinking and what he taught. And I asked him to be my mentor. But back to you, like that's an amazing, like I feel like that you're so good at that. The fact that you're able to make to turn a 180 on like in high school, like you're as we call them back in the islands, a sluffer. You
yeah,
slough
sluffer.
class.
I was a
That's what
sluffer.
that's what people would say, right? Are you sloughing class? Um, and if there are Americans listening, that's where we use the British
Yeah,
vocabulary. But yeah, you'd slough class and then you turn around to be a better student in high school and ended it right. And same thing out here. It sounds like you did the same thing. That you're good at turning um, a bad situation into a really good one. Because you went from like doing terrible in 2 classes to being a TA for one of the subjects.
yeah. I don't know how that happened, but I just feel like it's your mindset as well. It's yourself. Like I mentioned before, it, it's all up to you and how you push yourself. Um, I also consider my friends when in college because in high school that was one of the big things that made me slough class and skip class was my friends. So I wanted to like going to college. I wanted to consider the friends that I hanged with. Trust me, I started off with some wrong patch, but then it turned out like I found good, not good friends, like influential
Lifelong
friends,
friends.
lifelong friends who
Right.
influenced me to be better. Like you said, that 180 turn, I did that. I feel like that every phase of my life, I have a point where I do a 180. I do a big 180, and I'll sit back and I'm like, wow, like I just, wow, I changed.
No, yeah, because I guess what I'm trying to say is that it speaks a lot to your character and your mindset that you're able to do that 180 to whenever you find it's not because you get yourself into that situation. It's just whenever you find in yourself, when life happens to you, when you find yourself in a situation, a bad situation or not desirable situation, if that's a better way to describe it, that you're able to turn it into the best
Yeah.
situation possible. Like my whole time here, I don't think I was good enough at BYU Hawaii to get to a point where a teacher would trust me to help teach the class, which is being a TA. And that says a lot about your character. And I mean, you continue to inspire me as far as that's concerned. Um, Sorry, I was gonna say, yeah, you TA'd for Professor Akano, right?
And also Derek Whitten. And I was asked to TA for John Sukiyama, but I
Okay.
couldn't because I was already TAing for other classes. But I helped him out with his criminal justice classes,
Wow, that's
on the side,
amazing.
just
And
on
you
the side.
graduated, you're right, right.
Yeah.
And you graduated here with a bachelor's. What other certificates did you do?
So I did 3 certificates in legal studies, law, and good governance and criminal justice. And I
Wow,
did a minor in communication. Yeah.
that's quite the achievements. That's like, wow, that's really cool. Congratulations on everything. And you did that. Part of that journey was being married and pregnant. That last part of your journey.
Yeah. So my last semester, I got pregnant. We found
Hmm.
out we were pregnant. Me and my husband, we found out we were pregnant, and whew, yeah, I did my last semester knowing that I was pregnant. It was difficult, but very re, re, oh, very
Rewarding,
rewarding. Yeah.
right?
After I didn't know I could handle that, but we made it.
And
We made it with a lot of help.
you didn't just made it. Like you, you what's the word here? um you excelled, you flourished. Like you didn't just make it like barely to the line, you crossed the line and started a new race. That's so amazing. um and you said like a lot of people help you. Like if you were to choose, who are the 3 people that were the most influential to you during that your time here?
um, First of all, my mom. My mom was the first influential one. Like out of all my journeys, I would always pick my mom first because she was the
Mm.
one that never gave up on me. Never gave up on me. And my husband was the second one. And then the third one, if I could add all of them in just one, it would be my professors and my friends and
Okay,
the community. I would say the community,
right,
they were the ones that helped me. Just the way they helped me wasn't, even though it was, if it's directly or indirectly, I felt like they were helping me, mostly with smiles, and also words of encouragement. I would go to Dr. Murdoch's office if I feel like I'm failing, or
right,
if I'm not, if those mood swing, just a day comes and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so terrible. I'm not doing great in this class. Even though you're doing great, but you just feel like you're not doing great.
right,
Those
right.
are, choose somebody to go and talk to. It's either my husband or just go to Dr. Murdoch's class or office, or Kachiyama or Akanoa or any of the people that influenced me, and just talk to them. And they'll, after talking to them, I'll walk out. I'm like, I feel good.
No, yeah, that's definitely, I think, a resource that Pacific Islanders, and specifically for us, because we can only speak for Tongans, I would say, that we need to
Mhm.
utilize more is to go talk to the professors. Um,
It's very helpful. I used to be scared of my professors on my first 2 semesters,
Hmm.
but I would also feel scared talking to male professors. I feel like they were very
Hmm.
intimidating. And one of them was Dr. Murdoch. I
Hmm.
used to be scared of Dr. Probably because the way he speaks, his monotone, he speaks a very monotone way, or the way he looks. I used to be scared of Dr. Houghton. I used to be
Hmm.
scared of Dr. Smith. The
Hmm.
reason is they were very intimidating. It's either because they're very smart, the things they say is very intellectual that I cannot measure up, or
Hmm.
because the way they look and the way they talk with their hands and
Yeah.
gestures and stuff. But it's not until I just reach out to them. It's either I just email them and say, "Oh, I'm not doing great in your class. Can I come see you?" Or I'll just go knock in their office and say, "Help me. I'm failing your class." And they'll help me. Like they'll guide me to where, and then they'll guide me, and then it's up to me if I want to take it from there or just sit on there and wait to be guided more. But speaking to them and reaching out to professors really helped me flourish throughout my time at BYU. Every
That's-
semester, I would go talk to a professor.
No, and that's something we need to normalize as Pacific Islanders. And like I say, specifically for Tongans, because and I've had this conversation with multiple people. Well, an experience that comes to mind is that I went to talk to a couple of professors about doing the mentoring um,
I heard about
program.
that on my last semester.
Yeah, and like they gave me information about how a lot of the failing students are like Polynesian kids.
Mhm.
And the sad thing is the professor is trying so hard to get them to come and talk, right?
Mhm.
And there's a lot of things that we can unpack there, whether it's upbringing, whether it's cultural, whether it's pride, whatever. But my point is that um especially since we're doing the scholarship program, the iWork scholarship, is that we have this like rare opportunity because BYU Hawaii is so small to have that
Yeah.
one-on-one relationship with the professors. And and they don't go to the professors. But I think you as you are a testament of what good comes from going to professors like all the time. Like if they have time, they'll let you know. And these are Americans, right? They'll let you know, like saying, okay, I'm not free today or tomorrow, come Thursday or whatever, right? But they make time for you. And that's at I don't know, it's probably cultural, like that we don't want to talk to back because there's maybe a notion of talking back to our teachers or whatever. And that's a whole thing that we maybe it's another topic for another podcast. But I love that you're a I guess a poster child for talking to professors because you end up working with them on the daily, right? Like you would see them
Yes,
every
I
day
can.
at the office.
Yay. I well, it also it's very beneficial in the long run, like getting to know your professors. For me as well, like I'm trying to like get some amount of funds in order for me to do my master's. Since I'm an
Mm,
international student, I have this specific amount that I need to come up with in order for me to pursue my master's. And one of the professors that help out with my funds is one of the professors that influenced me that I always go and talk to. And I never knew he was going to help me. I just asked him and he said, "Well, okay, I'm going to give you this and to help you with your funds." And I was like, "Wow, thank you."
right,
And it's American money. Like any amount you get is worth every penny. Like I said,
right.
it's worth every penny. And he helped me and I was like, "Oh wow." And I thought of all the classes that I took from him and all the stuff that I've learned. I was like, wow. So it does help to go talk to your professors.
Right. And it's not, so what you're saying is that the help that you get from professors doesn't end with your education. They can help you in many different ways.
You're also creating a list of friends. I
Right.
consider it sense. Like to look back and like if you're struggling in the field that they were in, you can reach out to them via email and just say, hey, do you have a friend networking? Like, do you have a friend
Right.
here? I need a, I need help with this. Like, I feel like my professors would reach out to help me if I just reach out and ask them.
Yeah, definitely. And let's do it real quick, and I'll edit this. We'll plug in your. I saw your GoFundMe
Yes.
um, post, and so for those of you listening and watching, if you want to show support for Melissa and her educational journey, you can find the GoFundMe link on Malissa Fifita Seniloli on Facebook, and she has the link on there. Anything else you want to say about that?
Um, I know that money, well, we all work for money, and money is very precious to everybody. And it's a pandemic, but any penny helps. Like if it's $1, $5, $2, it counts because it's gonna help me in the long run. And I know I will not let you all down because we all work for money during a pandemic. But I feel like it's not gonna be a waste. That's what I'm trying to say. I want to pursue my master's in public administration, and I want to go further from there. So your money will not be a waste. I will not put it to waste. So
All right.
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. I had to remember to do that also. So along after your graduation with your bachelor's in political science with your minor and four other certificates,
Three.
three other certificates, and your next achievement, a gateway to further education, is that you got accepted into BYU-Provo's master's
Mhm.
program for
Yes.
public administration. Is that what you said?
Yes. I got accepted to do a 2-year program in public administration. Um, it's a dream. I was gonna do a double, um, do law school and do the masters, but I can't. I I feel like first of all, we found out that we were pregnant, and I wanted to look after. I wanted to have time to look after our
Right.
baby.
Prioritize.
Yes, and also I wanted to also after my masters help out, work and help my husband pursue his
Mm.
because he still wants to go to school too. So so I'm gonna do the 2 years and hopefully um, I don't know where we're gonna go from there, but I know for sure that it's gonna come, and probably we're gonna do a 182, a
Uh,
180 turn. But yeah, so I got accepted to the 2 years master's program, and that's why I'm doing the GoFundMe to help us with our little saving that we have to be able to do my master's. And from there, I don't know where we're gonna go, but I know that it's gonna come. It's gonna come when we get there. So, yeah.
no, I love it. It's amazing. Like it's no small achievement to be accepted into the MPA program for BYU Hawaii, because and just your group, it was a
Yeah.
very good group that you had. Yeah, you had like I was talking to one of the professors and they said BYU Hawaii as an entity is happy that they put out 12, I think 12 students
There's
for the
12 students.
master's program.
There's 12 students, and majority of those 12 students, I would say they're all political science majors or minoring in political science.
And
And
that's no small feats because BYU Hawaii, we have about 2,000 kids. I
mhm.
mean, 2,000 students, and like 12 of them got into, I'm not saying they're all, but I'm just saying the point that they got further studies. And
and during a
congratulations.
during a pandemic.
Yeah, during a pandemic. Yeah.
And most of those students, they have families, and they're international students.
Right,
And
right. Like
they
Carl,
Carl,
Terrence.
Mafe, and most of them, they have to come up with the funds just like me to be able to do their masters. And I would say it's a big it's a big step, but everybody is willing to take the big step and try to find every resources to get the fund to further in education. And it's so expensive here in the United States to further your
Right.
education, especially in the master's program. But everybody, even the students that got accepted, the other half of the students, they're willing to take the step to further their
And
education. So
hustle,
it's
yeah.
really important.
Right. That's so amazing. I guess maybe this will be our last question unless like we develop further the conversation. But what advice would you give to anyone, but specifically a Pacific Islander slash Polynesian little girl out there who wants to pursue an education from where you're at, like right, you've climbed a bunch of mountains and reached the peaks and like had the success that you've had so far, and like that's just education, that's just one aspect of your life. Like you were able to get married, be sealed in temple, have kids, all that stuff, like that's all different aspects of your life that you're succeeding at. And like you've been very blessed. Like now that you've gotten to that point, there's probably a little Melissa back in Tonga, um, who I don't know what like who might need to hear what you have to say about your journey. What like I'm not gonna put a number on how many advice you want to give, but what would be your advice to
Oh,
a younger version of you that's probably still in Tonga and wants to do this?
um, what I would tell myself 10 years ago, or tell a little Melissa out there, is there is always a tomorrow, and
Mm,
you're not that bad. You're not that bad. Like wherever you are in your life, there's always a time and a place for you to change. Like it's not gonna come instantly, or it's not gonna be a 180 turn, but it's gonna take steps, and it's all gonna be up to you. I think that's what I'm gonna tell the little Melissa, that the 180 change and the little steps, it's it will come from you. It's not going to come from the people around you. It's just going to be from you. Even though the other factors of friends and the influential people in your lives are going to matter, but it's just going to be you. If you don't do it, nobody else will do it for you, or
mm,
your mom will not do it for you. It's going to be you. If you cannot change you others cannot change you.
right.
It's you. um, that's what I'm gonna that's why I always tell the students that I help, or the students that come to me to seek help with political science and a class that they're looking for. It's they come and they ask me to help them, but then I help them, but then they don't want to help themselves. They want to just be seeking help all the time, like, here, come get the spoon, or something like that. But it's all up to you. It's the big you that it's gonna help you. You're gonna fall someday, and nobody else is gonna be around. It's gonna just be you. So you
Mhm.
stand up, and there's always tomorrow, but it's up to you if you want to see that tomorrow. That's the big advice. That's the longest advice ever. But
No, no, that was perfect. Like I I low-key got emotional there for a second. I had to try
oh
not
my
to
god,
cry. Because I was thinking, well, first of all, before I forget, would you be okay with titling this episode the 180-degree change? I think
yes,
it's
I'm fine with it.
because I think it's appropriate, seeing how you talked about everything is about that opportunity, that chance that you can make yourself where you can make it that 180 turn. And I don't know, I don't like what you said, and maybe you've heard this before, and we'll probably just close on this, but thank you for making the right choices that you did to be the person that you are today. because maybe you don't realize it, and maybe you just see it within a small circle within maybe your family, your current family now, or your birth family, or your siblings. Maybe you just see it's that. But I'm someone, like, even in Tonga, we don't live close to each other, right? And like now are you in California now? Is that what you said?
Yes. Oh, in
Like,
Cali.
and you're in California and I'm in Hawaii, but I still feel your influence. I still feel your spirit and your positivity, because, and I don't know, and that's what I want to do with the Let's Talanoa podcast, is to be able to share that and bless other people with your spirit and with your positive vibe. Is, I don't know, I'm just grateful to hear about your story, and thank you for sharing your journey, because it's inspired me. And like, it's funny that you said that you looked up to me in high school, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but what I'm looking at is a strong, powerful, a fighter, and a model of a woman for other Polynesian women, especially our Tongan little girls in Tonga growing up, if they want to further in education, and like learn from Malissa Seniloli with the new future name. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for being you and for being amazing. Is there anything else you'd want to share?
No, thank you for letting me share my experience. I didn't even know it's that influential. I just feel like, I don't know. I was just doing me.
Right, right,
But on the way, like, I felt like a lot of students, a lot of people helped me help them along the way.
right.
And my message is just do you and be you. I
No,
don't know. I like I said, I didn't even know it was that big
right.
being in college and stuff. But thank you for letting me tell my story and share my experience.
Yeah, and if you have more to tell, like, you can always come back and do other episodes. And I'm dead serious. Like, I've told people that if you want to come back and tell more of your story, like, we can definitely do that. But thank you so much for being on Let's Down Our podcast, and good luck on everything. And I know you're gonna do amazing, not just with education, but with your family and with life.